Los Angeles, I'm and most Hollywood nights. She goes to California, oh, California.
What you say about Los Angeles?
LA got the people saying,
You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. I'm Josh Guesman, and on today's show, I'm going to go back over the LA Galaxy's victory over the Seattle Sounders. It's another road win for the LA Galaxy, and they did it in the face of a team that was supposedly on the rise. But did you get what you wanted from that game? We'll also get you ready for the Houston Dynamo as they come into StubHub Center on Friday night. Plus, we'll be joined by LA Galaxy President Chris Klein for a candid one-on-one covering a whole range of topics. It's one you're not going to want to miss. It's a great show, so don't go anywhere. You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com, and it all starts right now. You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Now here's your host, Josh Guesman. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Josh Guesman with you here. I'm all by myself, but that's okay. Maybe a little bit shorter show than we're used to. That's okay, too, because we have an excellent interview coming up. We're going to be talking with LA Galaxy President Chris Klein coming up in the middle segment, so you're going to want to stick around for that. It is a very candid approach, lots of complaints and lots of things that were circulating around on Twitter over the U.S. Open Cup game being held at Track and Field Stadium, also about the season ticket member event as well. So I asked Chris about all those things. It's pre-recorded. Didn't change anything, just was easier with Chris calling in to make that a pre-recorded segment, so we're going to have that coming up here in the second segment. All right. The LA Galaxy, 1-0 winners over the Seattle Sounders. This was a game that I thought the LA Galaxy needed to win, but was not sure that they could win. Everybody talked about, and all the Sounders talked about, and you know how Sounders talk, about how much better they were going to be in this particular game, how they have turned the corner despite the fact that really they hadn't gotten many favorable results in the last coming weeks. I mean, their biggest sort of win was, a 3 or 4-0 win over West Ham in a friendly on a Tuesday night. Hey, good job, guys. Friendlies really mean a lot. That's an important thing there. But nonetheless, the LA Galaxy go up there and win 1-0. Hey, a good goal from Robbie Keane. If we're going to take anything away from this, it's that Robbie Keane is needed on the LA Galaxy. Remember how I was always saying, hey, you can't give Robbie Keane another designated player deal. You just can't do it. How could you do it? You can't spend that much money on a guy who's 35, 36 years old. It's just, you don't want to do it. Don't even think about doing it. LA Galaxy, you're smarter than this. All right, that's what I've told you. I may be wrong. I mean, the more you watch Robbie Keane, and granted, I don't think he takes over games like he used to, but he finds himself in the right spot. He's still a guy who's going to score goals, and you look at the LA Galaxy and scoring that goal in the 15th minute. Again, look at the blueprint that they set in the win over Portland, and you can understand sort of how they beat Seattle, because it was the same thing. Score early, not as early as they did in Portland, but score early, just like they did in Vancouver, just like they did in Portland. Now they do it in Seattle, score in the 15th minute. It was a great ball. Jelle Van Damme found Dave Romney on the left-hand side. One-touch pass from Dave Romney, which really was the key here, to Gyasi Zardes. And Gyasi Zardes is a damn man. All right, he's a damn man, and that's all that you need to understand about that, is that he is capable of doing everything that the LA Galaxy need him to do. And in that position where he plays a midfield forward role, however you want to define it, Gyasi Zardes has been doing everything the LA Galaxy have been asking. He's been doing it after playing every single minute, basically, of every game in all 6 games of the Copa America tournament, and he's probably exhausted. All right, the LA Galaxy need a player like Gyasi Zardes because he doesn't quit. All right, people can argue about his first touch, which I think is both correct in arguing about it, but also overblown. It's one of those things that, yes, I understand. Jalsi's artist and his first touch, not the best thing in the world. Never going to argue that it is. But it's also not the worst thing in the world. And because of that, I think that maybe he's overlooked at what he's able to do. I certainly haven't been overlooking it. He's been one of the absolutely key players for this LA Galaxy team. Jalsi's artist and Steven Gerrard right now are your two key players on this LA Galaxy team. There's no doubts about that. Not even for a second. Not even. Don't even ask. Jelle Van Damme has been outstanding, by the way. Think that he is. If you're talking about one of the players who stood out in this game, you have to look at Jelle Van Damme. I gave my man of the match to the back six. And then I realized that it's actually the back seven. So the back seven, that included Jeff Larentowicz, Baggio Husidic in the middle there, and it included all four defenders: AJ De La Garza, Daniel Sturris, Jelle Van Damme, who played out of his mind, and then Dave Romney, and then Brian Rowe. If you take any of those pieces away, and granted, you're able to interchange pieces on the back line. Ashley Cole not playing in this game because of a hamstring. All right, because of a hamstring. We found that out. Didn't train all week with the LA Galaxy. Didn't travel up to the game as well. Also, I don't know if anybody caught the picture of Ashley Cole smoking a cigarette recently. It was the Daily Mirror had to take a picture of that. Him in LA smoking a cigarette. I don't know how you feel about that as LA Galaxy fans. Quite honestly. I don't care what he does as long as he's fit for the LA Galaxy. I would think smoking a cigarette not the most healthy thing in the world for you. But I'd love to hear what you guys think. So if you want to go ahead and call, the phone lines are open 949-734-4217. I won't make you wait too long here before I get to the Chris Klein interview, and we're gonna play that. So just a lot of fun stuff that's still coming up in the show here. But obviously, give me a call if you have anything there. The LA Galaxy now improved 7-3-8, 29 points. They have now had 3 consecutive shutouts. For a team, remember, that couldn't stop giving up late goals and couldn't stop giving up goals in general. 3 consecutive shutouts, starting with the U.S. Open Cup victory in Portland and carrying all the way through Vancouver and now all the way through Seattle. They're not scoring as many goals, I think, as a lot of people would like. But they're still scoring, and they still are tied for first in the most goals scored, or at least they were. I know Wednesday night there's games being played right now. So they've scored 31 goals, and their plus 13 goal differential is still the best in MLS, or at least it was before all the Wednesday night games, as I'm recording on Wednesday night. The LA Galaxy have also just lost twice in their previous 16 MLS matches. You can say all you want about the winless streak that the LA Galaxy were on, right? You can say all you want about that. That's fine. I'm not going to argue with you. It wasn't good. You never want to see that. But they'd still had only lost twice in their last 16 games, and that's important. That starts to mean something now. And then in the previous 6 MLS matches, the Galaxy have given up just 2 goals. So things are starting to come together. And also, I'd like to point out that the LA Galaxy all-time are 9-4-6 against Seattle. Seattle is really bad right now. Really, really bad. And they're in denial if they think that they're not bad. All right, because they are not good. What else do you want to say in this game? The LA Galaxy played well defensively. They didn't let anybody score a late goal. That's probably what you can take from this. Jeff Larentowicz was great, made the MLS Team of the Week. Jelle Van Damme made the MLS Team of the Week. Both of those guys, well-deserved. Brian Rowe didn't have to do a lot. Listen, Sounders fans are going to tell you that they dominated this game. They did in possession. That's fine. They're going to tell you they dominated on the shot. Yeah, sure, 22 shots. But that was not 22 shots on goal. They only got 5 shots on goal. Brian Rowe only had to make 3 saves. Come on, guys. The LA Galaxy put more shots on goal for and made Seattle save more chances, 4 saves for Seattle, than what Seattle was able to do. So don't buy any of their Pacific Northwest, we're the kings of everything BS that usually comes with Seattle and their bravado, because quite honestly, their bravado's down in the gutter right now. Right? They are the worst team in Major League Soccer. All right, whether or not that holds out, whether or not somebody beats them to the bottom, they're still not good. All right, it's what happens whenever you take the guy who was your playmaker, who was the only guy who was your playmaker, by the way, and gets rid of him. All right, Obafemi Martin's no longer with the set. They had to take the payday. Now, granted, I think they're going to be active in this summer transfer window, but I don't know that fixes their team. We see what happens whenever you bring guys in. It takes a while to adjust. So I don't know. Seattle's a dumpster fire, and I kind of enjoy it. And as much as I've probably complained about having to play Seattle 3 times in the month of July. Remember, we just played them once. The LA Galaxy will play them again towards the end of the month, and then they'll play them on July 20th as well for U.S. Open Cup. So there's 3 times there that the LA Galaxy will get to play Seattle in July. And quite honestly, if you're the LA Galaxy, now's the time to play them. Take Seattle down all 3 times. Wipe Seattle off the face of this earth in July. All right, because quite honestly, their position on the table dictates that the LA Galaxy should have won this game. And quite honestly, the LA Galaxy did win this game. They did everything that you asked them to do. Was it a 90-minute performance? No, it was not. Still waiting on my first 90-minute performance. I'm waiting. I know lots of you are waiting. This team has to put together a full performance. I'm waiting for it. But a 1-0 win on the road, a little smash and grab, score early, bunker down. Still, I don't like bunkering, Bruce. If you're listening, I know you're not, but if you're listening, Bruce, I would rather you continue to attack. But I thought the Galaxy did well on the counter. I'd love to see Giovanni Dos Santos become more active in these games, because I think that's the only thing that's missing right now. That's the only thing that's missing. Get Giovanni Dos Santos active on that right-hand side. Giassi's artist in there as well. All right, so those are my takes on Seattle. Overall, again, the LA Galaxy doing well. I don't know what else to say about this game. This is what you wanted to see from the LA Galaxy. They're 2-3-4 on the road. 2-3-4 is not horrible. All right, they've gotten 10 points on the road. They need to continue that. Pick up a couple more wins. 3 or 4 more wins until the end of the season. If you can do that, if you can get some draws in there as well, if you continue to be tough on the road and you win the games at home, the LA Galaxy are forced to reckon with, and obviously that comes in with another struggling team, the Houston Dynamo, coming in to StubHub Center on Friday, an 8 p.m. kickoff time, and we're going to talk about that game coming up in the second segment. But what I want to do is, I think, at least for me, the most reasonable thing to do right now is not to make you guys wait any more longer for that Chris Klein interview. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break. Whenever I get back, I'm going to be joined by LA Galaxy President Chris Klein. I think you guys are going to enjoy the conversation. He was very candid. If you're a season ticket member, listen up. I tried to ask as many questions as I could, and I think he was very honest in his assessment. So I'd love to hear your feedback on it, but whenever I get back, interview with LA Galaxy President Chris Klein coming up. You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Check. Ready for some more Corner of the Galaxy? Don't forget to head over to the website for all the latest podcasts, news, and more. Visit us online at cornerofthegalaxy.com. Welcome back to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Josh Guesman back with you once again, continuing our show. And Lucky enough now to be joined by LA Galaxy President Chris Klein. He's been on the show many times before. Chris, thanks for stopping by.
Josh, it's always a pleasure.
Well, we wanted to first of all, I think, to start with is get your take on the first half of the season. Obviously, LA Galaxy halfway through. Wanted to see what you thought of the boys and their performance so far.
I think it's been okay. Bruce came out, I think, last week and said he'd give it a B-. I think I'd probably agree with him. Certainly not the worst first half we could have had, but we let some points slip away late, which at times can come back to bite you in the end. But overall, we're in good position headed to the second half of the season. I think the biggest disappointment in the first half was probably Champions League and not being able to do better in that. But we quickly recovered, and we're hoping to keep getting better as we head into the second half of the season. Hopefully, push for another MLS Cup.
Yeah. Also still in the U.S. Open Cup as well. Yeah,
I mean that's big for us. Our quarterfinal game next week against our lovely friends up in Seattle, so should be fun. We want, as we always say, win every competition that we're in, and that certainly includes the Open Cup.
Yeah, and this U.S. Open Cup, this was actually one of the questions. One of the reasons I originally wanted to have you on is the U.S. Open Cup is going to be played at the Track and Field Center this time. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is the CrossFit Games, as I understand it, are taking over StubHub Center, mm-hmm. as they have for, the last 3 years, maybe more than that?
Right. Yeah, they've been here for a little while. I don't know if it's 3 or 4 years. So we decided to move it to the track stadium. There was talk of other venues, but what we've done with Galaxy 2 and having that be the Los Dos Stadium, and the dimensions are exactly the same as they are inside of StubHub Center. It's going to be a fantastic atmosphere. We're going to have, I think, close to 5,000 capacity, and to be able to pack them in against Seattle, it's really going to be a great night, and we think it's going to add to the atmosphere that the Open Cup is. So we're looking forward to it.
Is there some disappointment, though, that you weren't able to put it on the main field? I mean, regardless of how many, if you get 5,000 people at the Track and Field Stadium, you probably could have had more at the main stadium.
Certainly. I think, yeah, maybe. Could we have sold out the main stadium? Maybe not. Right. But we always want to play in the main stadium, but certainly to be able to host is something that's big for us, and to be able to do that at our stadium and to do it there, I think, is something that's big for us, and people, our players are very excited, and certainly our fans should be as well, because it's going to be a lot of fun. Now
a lot of it was made on Twitter and across different social media avenues here that the pricing on it seemed like it was high. $30, I think, for the general public. I think season ticket holders got in for $25, but U.S. Open Cup games, the last one was a $10 game. Mm-hmm. Is there some reasoning behind that ticket jump, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, the majority of the time we price and try to give our season ticket members an advantage to be able to get in. Certainly the size of the venue and the demand dictates our pricing. We need to look at it. Certainly we're prone to not always do things the right way, but we try our best in wherever we can do. But we were confident in where we priced it, thought it was a fair price. It's free parking,
right.
Some other things, some other costs that usually go into coming to a Galaxy game that you're not going to see in an Open Cup. And we think it's going to be an amazing atmosphere and a great event.
Yeah, you guys are bringing in extra seats along the east side, which is technically the open side of the Track and Field Stadium there. So you think you're going to get about 5,000 people?
Yeah, we'll sell out the game. I mean, we have a lot of interest in it. Certainly Seattle is interested
yes.
in coming down. So it looks great. If you've been to a Los Dos game, which you have, it's a good atmosphere for a game. And certainly when we get our two first teams playing in there in a meaningful game in a quarterfinal of the U.S. Open Cup, we think it's going to be a special night.
Now, you said that maybe there was some talk of some other venues. Was Cal State Fullerton, a place that has a little history in U.S. Open Cup for the LA Galaxy, was that considered at all?
We never even went there, to be completely honest. In the past, we've gone to alternate venues, but we were pretty firm in staying here, mm-hmm. To the point where if we couldn't do it here, we thought that we would defer and let Seattle host, which
okay.
was a very quick conversation. So we have another venue. We've been able to do a lot of things to improve, first of all, the playing surface
right.
and the environment that we have at the track stadium for our Los Dos game. So we were very confident in that, and I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, it should be a good time. So that game is on August 20th. at StubHub Center. And I don't know if tickets are still available, but if they are, you go to lagalaxy.com/tickets for that. I will be there for that game. I think I'm sitting in the stands that game, actually, which should be a little bit different. But I wanted to.
So am I.
Oh, you are? Yeah. Well, let's see. The press box holds about 4 people, so I think I might have been sitting in the stands anyway. So that's okay.
That's good.
Now we move on. I want to talk about the season ticket holder event. Obviously, it's stuff that I have this weird sort of 2 hats I put on whenever I do a lot of the stuff. You know, I'm a season ticket holder. I have been since 2009. I still have my seats, so over in section 108. Row E, seats 15, 14, 13, and 12, just in case anybody ever doubts my season ticket holder credibility. But obviously I spend most of my games up in the press box and covering the team and being a reporter and doing that thing. So I have 2 hats. So I'm going to put on my season ticket holder hat here for a little bit, because I remember whenever I first became a season ticket holder in 2009 and how important that season ticket holder event was, right? And it's the chance to meet the team. And quite honestly, the perks that I got whenever I first started, following the LA Galaxy and doing things, some of the most amazing things, even if they were cost added things. There was the jersey unveil, I think, that was on top of the Grammy Museum, which I consider possibly one of the greatest events you guys ever threw. And yes, it was an added value one, but it was totally worth every penny that I ever paid for it. Got to talk to a whole bunch of people, and it was a very intimate event. And that's what I see in a lot of this. Is the LA Galaxy have always been a big team, Chris. There's no doubt about that, known internationally, but they've always had that sort of local my team feel. And with the season ticket holder event that was announced coming up on September 22nd, a lot of people seem to be frustrated by it. And the first thing that everybody asks is, why was it held on a Thursday night?
As opposed to a weekend.
As opposed to a weekend. Obviously, more people can make it on a weekend.
Sure. Well, I think the first thing is the feedback that we get from our season ticket members is that they love this event. It's important to them. So as long as that's the case, we will continue to do it. It is a challenging event, primarily because we have more of you. Right. We have more season ticket members than we've ever had in the history of our club, which makes the event more and more challenging to get around and see all the players and to give the access that we strive to give. So I think that's the first thing. Why did we hold it on a Thursday? The biggest thing for us is certainly getting it on a date when our players are open and engaged, to be able to sit there ends up being a very, very long time. So our schedule becomes a big piece of that, and trying to find a date that fits with our player schedule and that fits with a good date at the venue, a good date at our facility, is something that we looked at. We've thrown out dozens and dozens of dates, and in the end, this one was the one that we felt worked best for the most people. As I said before, we're not perfect, so we're trying to find the best date that works for the most number of people.
Right, and so the Thursday night comes about, and then now you look at the lottery system. Now, in the past, I will fully admit that it has been sometimes a cluster whenever you go to these events and trying to get, the big designated player signatures. I remember going to one early whenever I got my season tickets where everybody went to go wait in the line and see to get a signature from David Beckham and Landon Donovan. And that meant that I could get everybody else's signature on the team while everybody stood in that line. What's with the lottery? And specifically, it feels like you're limiting a lot of the signatures this time. It feels like, me personally, if I was going as a fan, I'm not going to be able to get more than maybe 4 signatures tops.
Again, a lot of it has to do with the amount of time that we have. The number of bigger players that we have, that people want to get their signatures, and then put all of those together, it makes it difficult to do everyone at once. We make our best attempt to offer the access that people want, whether it's Stevie or whether it's Gio or whether it's Giassi or whether it's Robbie, to be able to at least get one of those. Beyond that, we have to spread it out and allow our fans to be able to interact with them, and then some of our other players as well. We do the most that we can. If we could have a line where everyone could stand and get Gio or Stevie or something like that, then we certainly would do that. But we're trying to put the best event together to make it run as smoothly as possible, and we think we have an event that our fans are really going to enjoy this year.
How many season ticket holders do the LA Galaxy have?
We are over 10,000, which
10,000.
We've never been in the history of our club.
That's a significant increase over the last 3 years. I mean,
yeah, I mean, coming from where we were, I mean, we're over 100% increase, and people continue to add, people continue to renew, and the benefit of it used to be the perks that you talked about.
Right.
We envision a day soon where the benefit, the biggest benefit is that you actually have a seat to the game. And so that's what we're striving for. That's what everything that we put into it is to make people like Josh feel valued, so that you want to come back and keep your seats year after year, because hopefully in the very near future they're not going to be available and you will be on a list rather than in a seat. So things like the season ticket member event, things like other benefits that we give to our season ticket members are, it's one of our highest priorities of things that we can do.
Well, that eventually means then that the perks that a lot of us have grown up, and granted, there are people who have been season ticket holders way longer than me. I'm not pretending to represent the long-lasting, long-holding season ticket holders here, but that eventually means those perks are going away.
No, I don't think it does. I just said that the most valuable thing is that you'll have a seat. We
Right.
certainly want to continue to add to the value of making it feel like our season ticket members are part of the club. I want you to feel like you're every bit a part of this club as I am, because you are. So having an input, listening to feedback from our season ticket members about what they like, what they don't like, how we can improve, what we're asking out of them, and what they demand from us. So that conversation, the perks that we provide are not going away.
Okay. All right. It feels, and I can understand it. Granted, I get to see two sides of things as well, because I get to talk to you on a regular basis and find out what the challenges are with stuff like this. And there's people who just get to see the season ticket holder side, and they sort of see, and I can understand where they're arguing too, is that you look at what maybe the benefits were a couple years ago, and it felt like there was more value to it right now than perhaps there is right now. Do you understand the frustration, do you think, that the fans are having, that some of the season ticket holders are having?
I guess I'd like to hear a little bit more of the frustration in specific things. It's very difficult to respond to a general statement. So if there were specific things, certainly we would have a response. I see it as a bigger benefit than it's ever been, but certainly if there are opinions, people know how to get a hold of me, people know how to call me, and I respond to everyone. So we're always open to dialogue and discussion, and again, you guys are part of this every bit as much as I am. So we want that dialogue to be open. If there's things that we can and should change, if there's reasons for it, then we're certainly open to explaining that and walking through this with all of our season ticket members.
There's restrictions put on the amount of time players are available for autograph signings or appearances, isn't there?
In terms of no, I mean there are not restrictions.
As far as the CBA, does the collective bargaining agreement limit the amount of time they're available?
It does not.
Okay.
What it does do is it does spell out how many times that we are allowed to have a full team appearance.
Okay.
So beyond that, in terms of what we pay players for appearances, and it's unlimited. Depending on what they're paid, but when we can ask for a full team appearance, that is limited.
That is limited. All right. Let's move on to possibly. So one of the other things that I hear, and in the season ticket realm, but not in the season ticket event, and we'll move on from that. The season ticket holder cards. I know lots of people have been talking about cards, a hard plastic card for their season tickets. It's one of the questions that whenever I said I was going to have you on, I got 3 or 4 times. Is that something that you guys think could be a possibility in the future? You have StubHub as a sponsor. I have to imagine that between all these things that there could be a nice synergy between all this.
In terms of, what do you, in terms of a
hard card, almost like a credit card.
A hard card that you can scan for tickets, that you can scan for concessions. Is that what you're referring to?
Yep, you got it.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at everything. We're in the process of producing an app, and there will come a day when you will come not having to search for paper, not having to search for tickets, where you can easily transfer your tickets or pull them up and come in for parking, for entering the game, for ordering concessions, for ordering merch, for ordering hats, T-shirts, all of those things. So we are looking into a number of options right now connected with building an app where we can make that fan experience that much better and that much more seamless. Is it going to be a hard plastic card? Possibly not. I don't know that is the most technologically advanced way to do it, but we are looking at all of those ways to improve that fan experience.
All right, now we move back to the LA Galaxy on the field. Let's do some of that. Will the LA Galaxy be active in the current transfer window? Because so far it seems pretty quiet. Usually the LA Galaxy are mentioned every other word.
Yeah, I guess the short answer would be no. We have our team for the rest of 2016. We have no room to maneuver in terms of outside transfers and bringing players in. A year ago, this is when we brought in Gerard and Gio.
Right.
But we don't have the DP spots. We do not have salary budget space, and we're quite confident in the team that we have to be able to push for another MLS Cup. So we don't see the gaps that we've had in the past to be able to go out and make some significant moves. Will there be small tweaks here and there? Possibly, but we feel pretty good about our team.
Any summer friendlies planned?
No.
No. Were any close?
No. And looking through that, I mean, we have Chelsea-Liverpool is going to be at the Rose Bowl, of which we have involvement. Leicester-PSG is going to be here at our stadium, which we have involvement. And Arsenal-Chivas is going to be here as well, which we, again, have involvement. When we looked at our schedule this year and even going through and looking at something like a season ticket member event or an international friendly,
right.
What we came to is it just did not fit in our schedule. There was no time to do it that wouldn't have a significant impact on what we're trying to do and trying to accomplish in the regular season. We've always been consistent saying, we will do these if they make sense, and this year it didn't make sense. So we're not going to do one. It's still something we're considering, and the direction of the club going forward is still undecided. But I think that as a general statement, we'll do them when they make sense, and we won't when they don't. So 2016 didn't make sense to do one. So we are taking a break from them this year.
Does that mean that perhaps MLS, or at least the LA Galaxy, are beyond that particular, I don't want to call it a cash grab, but a financial reward of playing a summer friendly?
Yeah, and I don't think it's just a cash grab, because I do think there is some benefit, and there's certainly argument on this topic. There is some benefit to the Galaxy playing Barcelona at the Rose Bowl, that we get fans that might not have come and have watched the Galaxy. Are they there to see Messi or Neymar or Barcelona? Possibly, but we've also had decent success at converting those fans into Galaxy fans. So does that come along with dollar signs? Sure, but the primary motivation is what we talked about before. Is we want our stadium filled each and every night. So are we beyond it? I don't know. What I do know is our league season and our competition has to be paramount in everything that we do, and that comes from a league perspective. That comes from a team perspective. So I'm not sure exactly where we're at in terms of summer friendlies and in terms of these teams and clubs coming to our country and playing in our markets. One thing I am sure is that if we have people coming into the LA market, they should work with us. Chelsea, Liverpool, PSG, Leicester, Arsenal, Chivas, they should have some connection to the Galaxy because this is our market.
Right. And
we have changed that dynamic, and we do have them coming to us rather than coming in by themselves and coming into the LA market on their own.
Right. Right. Does that mean that possibly you gain some financial rewards from them coming in and playing at your stadium?
I mean, yeah. I mean, we own our stadium,
right.
So are people going to be buying food? Are people going to be buying T-shirts? So I guess technically yes, but our building now, with having just us here, has open dates, and we certainly want to have content there when it makes sense.
Absolutely makes some sense. All right, two more questions, and then I'll let you get out of here because you've been more than gracious with your time. One of the big questions: Landon Donovan statue. When is there going to be a Landon Donovan statue? When is there going to be a Kobe Jones statue? When are the statues coming?
Where do you want to put statues?
I think people would probably like them out front, right? Out front in front of the front gate.
Yeah. You've seen how the stadium has transitioned over the past year. So whether it's a statue or other things, we are not finished yet. We've said all along that this is a process, and people are going to continue to see the improvements at StubHub Center. Ways to recognize our past is a big piece of that. We've brought our championships and things that this club has accomplished into the stadium, including names like Doug Hamilton and Kobe Jones and Mauricio Cienfuegos, and those things will continue. Landon will go through the same process that those others did, but I'm quite certain we will figure out the appropriate way to honor Landon Donovan and continue to honor Kobe and Cien and the players that have played here and played such a huge role in building the culture of this club.
Yeah, it's one of those things. The only other thing that, quite honestly, I get asked a lot, which is hysterical, is when are the seat colors going to change, Chris? Apparently nobody likes the green anymore.
Nobody likes the green, but you can't see the green when people are in them.
Yeah, but still, I think that a nice navy blue would work well for the LA Galaxy. It would fit the stadium nice.
No, it could. And again, this is all a process, and we are taking it little by little, but it is something that we're heavily focused on. We need to make this our home, and green is not our color. It's a nod to the past, but certainly not our color. So we definitely get that and try to prioritize each piece of the stadium. And we'll have more improvements that will come in 2017 and beyond.
All right. Well, Chris, I want to thank you for stopping by, as always. Actually, if you could hang on after the music here, I want to say one more thing to you off the air, but I certainly appreciate you stopping by, being as candid as you can with us, and as always, you're always welcome back. So thanks again.
Anytime, Josh. I appreciate what you do for us.
All right. Thanks, Chris. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. Whenever I get back, going to go ahead and get you ready for this LA Galaxy versus Houston game. So still a bunch to talk about. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com.
Right now we're escaping from a nightmare as your way starts to gravitate without a care. You found me and decided it was time to indulge you now.
They've never mastered the eclipse when taking selfies. It's Corner of the Galaxy.
Hey, this is Chris.
This is Eddie. This is Jason.
And we're from Back Pocket Memory, and you're listening to Corner of the Galaxy.
Welcome back to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. Josh Guesman with you once again. Glad to be back here. I thought a really fun interview with Chris Klein. I know there was some stuff in there. If you're a season ticket member, I know there's been some frustrations about it, and quite honestly, I don't know, even from Chris's responses, I don't know how long the LA Galaxy are going to be able to keep up some of the perks. The problem is that you probably bought into season tickets expecting some of these perks. I mean, the season ticket member event is one of those things that, quite honestly, as a season ticket holder, you should be expecting. So it's going to be interesting to see how that transitions. You heard Chris say they had more than 10,000 season ticket holders. I don't know if a lot of you understand the significance of that. There were times in the not-too-distant future, in fact, in 2009, whenever I started, where there were rumors that the LA Galaxy had less than 5,000 season ticket holders. All right, so in the 3,900, 4,000, 4,500, somewhere in there. And quite honestly, the more than 10,000 season ticket holders is the closest, I think, that we've ever gotten to an actual number. So to hear that number above 10,000... First of all, you should be proud as an LA Galaxy fan that you're pulling in that many, because we've said it before that Los Angeles is ridiculously hard to sell events in and do things. And you can always say that the beach is there just waiting for you if you really wanted to. I mean, the beach is there. It's a competitor. You have the Rams coming in for NFL. Let's see what the attendance does after NFL starts up and the Rams now start drawing. You have LAFC coming in. Again, 10,000 season ticket holders means that for every game you're starting at 10,000. That's a big deal. That's a very big deal. But that also means that it's going to be harder and harder to control any of these season ticket holder events. I mean, listen, they've been clusters before. I would anticipate that even despite what Chris says, that you're going to see this stuff start to go more and more away. I mean, I don't see how you can do it. Realistically, with the lottery system that the LA Galaxy have right now that are planning for this season ticket holder event, there's less than about 5,000 people who are going to get signatures. So if you have less than 5,000 people and you have 10,000 season ticket holders, then you can understand there should be a whole bunch of people who are going to be upset about it. I fully 100% understand that. It's up to the LA Galaxy to figure out how to make that work, and I don't know that we're going to get the correct answer. As Chris says, eventually maybe there's a time when the benefit to having season tickets is that you have a seat for a game that's going to be sold out every single week, and I'd love to see that happen. Let's make that happen, quite honestly. Yes, it means less from less perks for a season ticket holder. I understand that. Again, I don't like to see those go away. I've had some of my best experiences with the LA Galaxy have been because of that. I talked about the jersey unveil. It was the third kit jersey unveil that they had at the top of the Grammy Museum. It was one of the most amazing, sports-related nights. And this was before I was really, a full member of the press and in the press box and getting to talk to players and, have one-on-one time with them. I remember talking to Landon Donovan. There's things there that those memories are some of my favorite, and I get to talk to some of these guys on a regular basis. But, that interaction will remain special for me. So there's perks there that, are going to go away. I don't see how they can keep them. And it's going to be up to the LA Galaxy to manage those expectations. And quite honestly, if they can't manage those expectations, a lot of you who have had season tickets, who expect to have a certain level of service or a certain level of perks. Service is one thing. You should be getting outstanding service all the time. And if you're not, complain about it. I'm certainly not going to tell you not to complain about it. If you're not getting the most from your season ticket rep, or what you need from your season ticket rep, find another one. All right, complain until you get another one. I have no problems with that. You deserve to get what you get for what you're paying for season tickets. My season tickets in Section 108 are not cheap. All right, the company that I work for, a family-owned company. We've talked about this before. I work for a family-owned company. It's worth it to us to be able to give to clients and to be able to give to employees to go to these games. That's a perk for us that we're able to offer our employees. So that's why I still have season tickets. That's why I've been a season ticket holder since, I think it might even be 2008, middle of 2008. So that's why all that stuff, sort of comes about. But I think they're going to have a difficult time managing expectations for the season ticket holder events coming up in the future and to see what happens with this one. Again, more than 10,000 season ticket holders, less than 5,000 signatures are probably going to be given out. If my math is right, 325 times 13, it's like 4,200 and something. Maybe it's 4,500 and something. It's in the 4,000 range. Regardless, it's not 10,000. I know it's been said that the LA Galaxy say they did not hold the event on a Thursday in order to reduce capacity. Technically, they could have held it on the weekend and still had the reduced capacity because there's only a certain number of signatures, a certain number of tickets for this. So, I guess you could argue that. But I don't see how you don't hold it on a Thursday and understand that will limit the ability for some people to get there. Overall, if there's 10,000 season ticket holders, does that make sense? It's crowd control. What are you trying to do here? It's very difficult. Again, I understand everybody being upset. It's certainly something that I looked forward to whenever I was not a member of the press and was full-time season ticket holder. So I understand that completely. I'm on your side with that. There are expectations that come with getting season tickets. So that's it on my season ticket holder sort of stuff. I want you guys to know that if you ever have any questions, I'll be happy to talk to Chris for you if I can. Chris is actually pretty accessible. If you see him at an event, if you want to talk to him, you can. He's always walking around, and he doesn't just talk to me because I have a press pass on. All right, I see him stop and talk to fans all the time. So if you have a complaint, you can take it to Chris. I think he'd be happy to talk to you. Quite honestly, he says he needs to hear more direct stuff. I tried to bring him as direct as I could with my season ticket holder hat on, which I didn't actually have a hat on, just in case you were wondering. With my season ticket holder hat on, I tried to bring him some of that, but it's up to you guys, and you have to make your voices heard, and I have zero issues with that. I know that the people behind the scenes for the LA Galaxy work extremely hard. Sometimes I think they're probably understaffed for what they do, but they're genuinely very nice people, and they want to do right by you guys. They do. If they're not doing right by your guys, then you need to tell them. All right, let's get on to LA Galaxy news before we get ahead of ourselves and start talking about Houston. Just real quick, Thursday, the U16s, remember the U16s played last week at StubHub Center, where they won 1-0 over Real SoCal, and that advanced them in the USSDA semifinals. Quarterfinals, and now they're in the semifinals where they will play Real Colorado on U.S. Soccer Field number 1 on Thursday. I don't have a time. It doesn't tell me a time. I'm looking. If I get a time, you will find it on @Galaxy Podcast on Twitter, so that way I can push this out to you. So that way you guys can go out to U.S. Soccer Field 1. It's one of the first fields on the left-hand side as you enter StubHub Center. All right, that's where they're going to play this game. That's a great field. If you want to go cheer on the U16s, which I encourage you to do, quite honestly, cheer on the U16s, see if they can get past the semifinals into the finals in this. So that is the first bit of LA Galaxy news, a little Academy news for you there. Always fun to bring you some Academy stuff. LA Galaxy midfielder Nigel de Jong has been suspended an additional match. Color me surprised. If you remember, I think last week on our Corner of the Galaxy live show, our full show, I said that it wouldn't surprise me if Nigel de Jong was suspended an additional game. I said it didn't warrant it, but because of his reputation, it wouldn't surprise me if the disciplinary committee decided to do something monumentally stupid again, which is basically the thing that they do all the time. The disciplinary committee suspended Nigel de Jong an additional game. Why this didn't happen immediately after the Vancouver game, whenever it was supposed to happen, is ridiculous, quite honestly. There is something that should be demanded from the LA Galaxy and from fans, that whenever the disciplinary committee has to come up with a decision, that they make the decision in a timely manner, right? And then they go ahead and they suspend that player. Because who knows if Nigel de Jong has been playing, and who knows, they could have told the LA Galaxy immediately after it, but they deserve to tell the public and the fans what's going on with this, because otherwise it sounds like shenanigans. All right? You took almost 2 weeks to issue a statement that if you were going to do it, if it was such an egregious error, if it was something that was so obviously an additional game for Nigel de Jong to take out Blas Perez. By the way, Blas Perez elbowed Nigel de Jong in the face. Now, is there a fine for Blas Perez? I didn't see it in the release. Big surprise. All right, but Nigel de Jong gets suspended because of it. Now, it was retaliatory, and I said that was going to be the thing that could knock him down an additional game, and that is what happened. So the LA Galaxy will be without Nigel de Jong in the Houston game. Thank you, disciplinary committee, for your continued idiocy, quite honestly. I don't know. They may need to change the name of the disciplinary committee, the DISCO, to something that equals stupid, because that's what's coming out. They say they don't strive for consistency, and that's what they've continually proved the whole time, is that the disciplinary committee cannot be consistent. There were other tackles this week that probably deserved the same action, and it didn't happen. All right, so if you're looking for anything to be upset about in Major League Soccer, you can talk about the rules changing or however you want to do it. That's fine. I'm 100% with you that some of the rules need change. We need to be more clear on a lot of things. That's great. I'm 100% behind you on that. Let's go ahead and start changing those things. But this disciplinary committee, something that was sort of, I think, created in the latest CBA that has former players on it, needs better leadership, needs a lot more transparency, and needs to be quicker with their decisions. Because otherwise, it's like, hey, who lobbied for Nigel de Jong to get an additional game? You know, what went into that decision? Because it continues to be something that can't be predicted. So you're talking about you want consistency from officials? No, sorry. The DISCO refuses to be consistent. A pro refuses to be consistent. There's too much inconsistency to believe that this isn't just a straight reputation play. Nigel de Jong deserves his reputation. He has done things that people have seen and have moaned about and argued about. You know, you'll hear about it. Nigel de Jong breaks people's bones. Well, so does Nat Borchers. And so does Stu Holden broke somebody's bones, too. So where are you going to draw the line? Because, you know, I've seen lots of stuff by Nat Borchers that would be considered very dirty if Nigel de Jong did it. All right, but because it's Nigel de Jong and his quote-unquote reputation, which shouldn't have anything to do with what's going on right now, it's what happened in the play. All right, you already suspended them 3 games for, quite honestly, not a very horrific tackle on Darlington Nagbe. All right, and now you're going to suspend him 2 games for a retaliatory foul after he got elbowed in the face. You guys need to get your priorities straight, and the disciplinary committee continues to disappoint along all those things. Ashley Cole not expected to be ready for this game against Houston. FYI, he's been dealing with a hamstring issue. Just wanted everybody to know that don't expect him to play against Houston. Although, it's Bruce Arena. He could surprise everybody and throw him in there. Don't be surprised if he starts either. It's one of those. The other bit of news, which was interesting, and we're already running out of time. I hate it when this happens. This is what happens when I'm by myself. And I get all fired up. There's nobody here to sort of shut me down and tell me to relax a little bit. But Landon Donovan has selected Jack McBean and Raul Mendiola to play in the All-Star Game's homegrown player game. This is the Chipotle MLS homegrown game on Wednesday, July 27th at 6 p.m. This is played at Avaya Stadium. Remember, the All-Star Game up at one of the smallest venues in the entire league. So yay for 18,000 people. Woohoo! So at the All-Star Game. But Jack McBean getting a call-up. And if you'll remember, I said, hey, Jack McBean's not a homegrown player anymore, per MLS. And that was per MLS. It wasn't Josh just saying per MLS. Josh had contacted people at Major League Soccer, and they had told him that Jack McBean was no longer a homegrown player. Guess what? Per MLS, Jack McBean is a homegrown player. So shruggy emoji. I don't know what to tell you guys. I have reached out to MLS again to ask for clarification on the rule. I got nothing. Good news for the LA Galaxy. Jack McBean is a homegrown player. I'm happy. I want him to be a homegrown player. It's just that by the rules that they had laid out before, he shouldn't be a homegrown player. So I would just like to know which rules have been amended, changed, slidden, hidden, whatever they're doing to make that happen. And no, I don't think that this is to help out the LA Galaxy. I think there was actually a rule change or something that happened in this collective bargaining agreement. Professor Stephen Bank, who's a good friend of mine, UCLA law professor, he keeps me clued in on CBA updates, and there's one in there that looks like it is would possibly allow Jack McBean to be considered a homegrown player. So there you go. There you have it. There's something there. But anyway, good for Jack, good for Raul. They're both well-deserved, by the way. Those are the homegrown players that should go in this homegrown game. All right, 100%. So July 27th at 6 p.m. at Avaya Stadium in San Jose. That is the Chipotle MLS homegrown game coached by LA Galaxy legend Landon Donovan, who had an inside-the-park home run at the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, in case you were paying attention. I especially liked him trolling all the Dodger fans because he had an Angels hat on whenever he did it. He was playing on the American League. He wasn't going to wear a Dodgers hat. Just get over it. I'm sure he's still a Dodgers fan. You guys are all okay. He was wearing the Angels hat, still representing the greater Los Angeles area that includes Anaheim. Somehow that map gets drawn. Hey, I live in Orange County. I don't get it either. Don't look at me. The LA Galaxy now will get ready to face the Houston Dynamo Friday, 8 p.m. at StubHub Center. This game is live on Unamas. Again, an 8 p.m. kickoff, giving you an extra 30 minutes to get to the game, thank God, because Friday traffic is horrible. The LA Galaxy facing off against the Houston Dynamo. And listen, I don't need to tell you that Houston is not one of the better teams in Major League Soccer. It's just the simple. You talk. I said that the Seattle Sounders were the worst team in Major League Soccer, which, by the way, I'm correct in that. They are the worst team in Major League Soccer, but Houston is currently in, let's see, 4th from the bottom in 17th place. Seattle at 18th place. So the Western Conference bottom dwellers are the Houston Dynamo and the Seattle Sounders, and we talked about a busy schedule in July, having to play Houston, having to play Seattle twice in Major League Soccer play, once in MLS Cup play. There's also Portland in there, an away Portland game. Guess what? Portland's not playing that well either. They're 11th in overall standings in Major League Soccer, but also sit at the bottom of the Western Conference. So the LA Galaxy have a chance in July to swipe the table clean with all these bad teams they're playing against. And there's no reason not to expect them to win this game against Houston on Friday. No DeMarcus Beasley for Houston. Like I said, no Ashley Cole for the LA Galaxy. No Nigel de Jong for the LA Galaxy. That's okay, though. LA Galaxy still win on that one. Jeff Larentowicz has been playing out of his damn mind, quite honestly, Big Red. If you don't appreciate what Jeff Larentowicz has been able to do in the middle of the field, then you need to pay more attention to what's going on in the middle of the field. Jeff Larentowicz has been one of those anchor guys the Galaxy have been able to rely on to allow Steven Gerrard to play forward. Baggio Husidic will probably play in the center there. Everything else probably looks about the same as it did on last Saturday whenever the Galaxy played in Seattle. I'm trying to think of what changes. What changes would you make? I don't think there are any. And I don't think I'd make any. And if that's the case, if there are 0 changes available for the LA Galaxy, it will be the first time all year that they played 2 consecutive lineups back-to-back that were exactly the same. That's a big deal. All right. Houston is 4-8-6. They have, let's see if I can get this right. I don't want to say it wrong because I was going to say it. So 4-8-6 played 18 games, have 18 points. Guess how many points per game they average? 1. All right. The LA Galaxy, obviously 7-3-8, having played 18 games, averaging 1.61 points per game, and currently sitting in 29 points, just 6 spots back in the Supporters Shield race. New York City FC and Philadelphia Union, the big surprises in the Eastern Conference, sitting number 3 and 4 in the Supporters Shield. FC Dallas up top. Houston is a team that should be beatable. The LA Galaxy should beat them. This is one of those games you would expect people like Giovanni Dos Santos, like Gyasi Zardes, like Robbie Keane to get on the scoreboard and score goals. This is not a 1-0 game for the LA Galaxy. Houston's back line is not good. Their goal differential is -2. They have allowed 25 goals, and they've scored 23 goals. The LA Galaxy have scored 31 goals and allowed 18 goals. If you look up and down the standings from all the different teams of goals allowed, the LA Galaxy are second only to the Colorado Rapids. Colorado has allowed just 13 goals. The LA Galaxy, just 18 goals. LA 5-0-3 at home. This is a game the LA Galaxy definitely should win. Houston has not won a game, and here comes the curse. Houston has not won a game on the road in 2016. They're 0-7-3. Tell me again why the LA Galaxy should lose this game. There's no correct answer for that. LA Galaxy face off against Houston 8 p.m. on Uno Mas at StubHub Center on Friday. You need to be there. I will be there. I will see you there. Come say hi to me. I hope you guys have enjoyed this show. I want to thank Chris Klein for coming on. Chris was great. I thought he was candid. If you have questions, more follow-up questions, send them over. cornerofthegalaxy@gmail.com. I'd love to have them. If I see Chris again, I'll talk to him. I'll see if I can get you an answer. I mean, I have no problems with it. The LA Galaxy looking like they're turning a page here, though. July's big for them. Let's see what they can do against Houston on a Friday. All right. Once again, thanks to LA Galaxy President Chris Klein for coming in. Thank you to Chris Glidden, LA Galaxy PR Communications for arranging that. Always great to work with those guys, so I'm really glad we could bring that to you. All right. There we go. Made it through another show. It only took me an hour. All right. I thought it was going to be a shorter show. What do you know? All right, for LA Galaxy President Chris Klein, I'm Josh Guesman, and you've been listening to Corner of the Galaxy on cornerofthegalaxy.com. I will catch you next time. You've been listening to the Corner of the Galaxy podcast on cornerofthegalaxy.com. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Galaxy Podcast, and be sure to check out and subscribe to iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching for Corner of the Galaxy. And for all of your independent LA Galaxy news, discussion, and entertainment, including this podcast, head on over to cornerofthegalaxy.com. Fans, thanks for listening. We ask that you be kind and courteous to your neighbors as you leave the podcast. We thank you for joining us and look forward to seeing you again. Until then, I'm Michael Araujo, and on behalf of the entire Corner of the Galaxy crew, goodbye, everybody.